Tonight, the Lions charge, ready for the fight. No more hearts and steadfast pride. Detroit spirit, we wear it white. Feel the drive, hear the crowds embrace. Locked on Detroit Lions will rise. With a heart full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future, we'll claim our own. In the brave will proudly have grown. In the city, where the roar meets the night, the Lions charge, ready for the fight. Noble hearts and steadfast pride. Detroit spirit, we wear it white. Feel the drive, hear the crowds embrace. Rocked on, Detroit Lions will rise. Rocked on, Detroit Lions will rise. With a heart full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future, we'll claim our own. In the home of the brave, we'll proudly have grown. With every game, we rise and unite. Feeling the passion igniting the light. Through highs and lows, we'll stand as one. Our legacy, a tale that's just begun. Together we roar. Together we roar. Detroit Lions will rise. With a heart full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future, we'll claim our own. In the home of the brave, we'll proudly have grown. So let's lift our voices. Let's turn it up loud. For the love of the Lions, we'll always be proud.
All right. Hey, good morning. Welcome into the Rise and Grind Morning Show. It is January 2nd. We're going to rise and grind it all day today. Hope you guys are doing well this morning. We've got a lot of news to get to today. We're going to try to break it down into a few segments, but just to give you guys a little bit of a glimpse of what we're going to talk about. NFL news today, we're going to be talking about Saquon Barkley, the attack on New Orleans, and how the NFL has addressed it or trying to address it. Because as you guys know, the Super Bowl is going to be held down there. I'm not going to get all political or anything like that, but we're going to briefly state what the NFL has stated. Mike Evans, chasing history. Can he do it? And for those watching the Calais Campbell Lottery live, well, we've got news on that too. Joe Burrow, is he going to restructure to keep his dynamic duo receiver threat available in Cincinnati? That's what we're going to get to this morning right away on NFL News. So welcome in everybody and all the, what I call the newbies anyway, the new subscribers. You guys have pushed us over another milestone. Over 400 subscribers in 2 days. That's like epic growth. So thank you very much for that. Keep on sharing, keep on liking, and keep on subscribing. If you haven't yet, we'd love to have you in at Rock On Detroit Lions and make us one of your number one sources, because there's plenty of good sources out there for good Lions content available on YouTube and everywhere else. So appreciate you guys. So that means we're going to have another mini helmet giveaway. And you know what? While we're live this morning, why don't we just do it this morning? So I might do some trivia or something towards the end of the show. We're going to give out another mini helmet today. So stick around, and as we get through everything, we'll pop it in at some point in time. We'll give away a mini helmet this morning. So NFL news. All right, so NFL news. Let's start with Saquon Barkley. I found this just crushing for Saquon, because this guy has been playing at such an elite level all season. And you got to give respect where respect is due, right? I mean, Saquon Barkley, he opened up about this situation he's not going to have a chance to break the NFL single-season rushing record. You're probably wondering why. Well, the Eagles have decided to shut him down for the rest of the season. Now, he said that he wasn't scared of making history or chasing Eric Dickerson's record. It was something that he wanted to pursue and something his teammates wanted to help him achieve. Now, of course, he probably didn't set out this season thinking that he was going to break 2,000 yards. But as the season, got about halfway through, there was a real opportunity for Saquon to do it. So what does that mean? Well, that means that Barry Sanders' record is still protected by Saquon because he's not going to be able to even break Barry Sanders' record. I think Barry's sitting at number 4 right now on the list. So that's good news for us. Bad news for Saquon. So Barkley let the decision come down to the Eagles, and they decided to rest him for the Week 18 finale against the New York Giants. I mean, it's smart, right? Why not risk injury to Saquon? It just doesn't make any sense because he's a big reason why that offense is having success. It makes sense. So he's going to finish with 2,005 yards, 101 shy of breaking Dickerson's 40-year-old record. Are we ever going to see it get broken? If there's a player that could do it, and if the Lions didn't have a duo running back system, I think that Jahmyr Gibbs could come close, if not do it. But until he's a lone back and he's getting a boatload of carries, I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think Saquon is going to be the closest for a long time, as most NFL teams now have a pretty strong duo, and they're trying to split up carries because, as we've seen with running backs, man, I mean, they get injured at such a high clip. You have to kind of break it up a little bit. You got to protect your guys. Here's a quote from Saquon. He says, "When I slept on it, I was like, this is an opportunity to implement my name in football history. You may never get an opportunity like that again, so I'm down. But I don't care. If I'm putting the team at risk, he's the head coach for a reason. He makes the decisions, and whatever decision he wanted to make, if he wanted to play me, I'm going to go out there and make sure I'd get it. If we don't, I was okay with that too." If you remember, I don't know, maybe a month ago or so, I mentioned Saquon, and I think it was a clip from this preseason, or it might have been last year, where he was going to break a single game record for himself, and he was put down somewhere near the fourth quarter or midway through the fourth quarter. Coach came up to him and said, "Hey, man, you're going to break this single game record. Would you like to go out there in the next series?" He said, "Nope, just let the young guys eat, man. I'd rather see the young guys eat." So Saquon, I mean, he's a good dude, right? I mean, he's always been a good dude. And in this type of stuff, I'm sure that he would love to go and finish, what he's started this season, but he's holding the team at the highest regard. And obviously the coach is making the decision either way. One of his linemen said that, obviously they wanted Saquon to get the record. Kind of sucks to see that it's not going to happen. But either way, what a great season for Saquon Barkley. So we've got to give respect where respect is due, man. So congratulations to Saquon. Pretty epic season. And we might see this dude in the playoffs. So you don't know. We might see this guy in the playoffs. And we've done pretty well against the run, but I have a feeling he might have a decent day. But whatever that is, as long as the Lions win, we don't care about stats anymore. We kind of got to give it up this season just because of the way our defense is kind of shaping up for the rest of the season. Next, I'm going to address this briefly, but the attack on New Orleans. So, when this all came down, it didn't seem like there was anything sinister going on, but the NFL did address it. So the NFL has reassured its fan base that the Super Bowl in New Orleans this season will be safe and enjoyable. It will be an experience that even after this recent terror attack in the historic city of New Orleans in the French Quarters on Wednesday morning that left more than 10 people dead and dozens injured, they're strategizing right now, right? And they want everybody to feel safe that it's going to go on without any issue. There's probably going to be a major heightened, pressure, I guess, from everybody to have a ton of police presence down there, which is probably a good idea. I personally have never been to a Super Bowl, so I don't know how much more heightened it is than just a normal game. as far as police presence, but I can only assume that the NFL is spending some big money right now in making sure that they have a ton of, police, in gear and, street clothes, making sure that this is going to go off without a hitch. I'm not going to go deep off into this, but, the NFL put out a couple of statements, one saying that they are deeply saddened by the news of the devastating incident in New Orleans. Our thoughts are with the victims, the New Orleans community, and all those affected. The NFL and the local host committee have been working collaboratively with local, state, and federal agencies the past 2 years and have developed a comprehensive security plan. These plans and planning sessions will continue as they do with all major NFL events, and they are confident that the attendees will have a safe and enjoyable Super Bowl experience. So when you're a Detroit Lions, make it to the Super Bowl this season. That is an experience that we're going to be able to take in, hopefully, for the first time ever. We shouldn't be worried about it. That's what the NFL is stating. Now, the FBI also put out a statement. So I did not know this until late last night, but it is a terror attack. Here's their statement. This is from Washington, D.C.'s FBI National Press Office. It says, today at approximately 3:15 a.m. Central Standard Time, an individual drove a pickup truck into a crowd of people on Bourbon Street, New Orleans, killing at least 10 and injuring dozens of others. After hitting the crowd, he exited the vehicle and fired upon local law enforcement. Law enforcement returned fire. The subject was obviously taken care of. 2 law enforcement officers were injured and transported to local hospital. They did find, again, according to the FBI statement, they did find more weapons and a potential IED located in the subject's vehicle. So, man, bad timing. Never a good time for this stuff. Shouldn't be happening. NFL really needs to make sure they step up big time. Obviously, working with the FBI and other police sources, security sources, Homeland Security, making sure this stuff doesn't happen when you have hundreds of thousands of people down there for the Super Bowl or any given day. This kind of crap doesn't belong anywhere in the world, but let alone our country. More fun news. Let's get into some Mike Evans news here. So Mike Evans, I mean, we've gone up against Mike Evans a few times over the last couple of seasons. He's seemed to have pretty good games just about every time we match up against him. But Baker Mayfield on Mike Evans chasing his 11th 1,000-yard season and a playoff quest. And he said, if we win, Mike is getting the record. So in the unpredictably world of the NFL, there are few in history who have been consistently stellar at their position, and Mike Evans is one of them. He enters Sunday's game looking to tie Jerry Rice for the most consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons. And Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield remains steadfast in his aim to get Evans there. So expect a lot of balls going to Mike Evans this weekend. So if you're still involved in fantasy or fantasy betting or any other betting props, clearly Vegas is probably not going to put a lot of money available on Mike Evans, but he's going to get fed this weekend. Quote by Mayfield said, let's put things into perspective. You're talking about tying somebody, Rice, that has all receiving records across the NFL throughout history. You're talking about somebody that consistently has been somebody in this community that has raised people up, continue to be the face of this franchise, and be there for people. So that record is important for us to get him to that. Obviously, winning is the most important part, but those two things go hand in hand. Now, Evans just needs 85 yards on Sunday, and this will be his 11th straight, as I said before, 1,000-yard season. Amon-Ra St. Brown, man, he's what, a third of the way there, fifth of the way there, something like that. Can he be one of these guys mentioned in the next 10 years of being close to Jerry Rice's records or even breaking some of Jerry Rice's records? I think that Amon-Ra St. Brown could. He's well on his way. Next quote says, Mike is a huge part of this offense and a huge part of the passing game. And so getting him involved early and often is a lot of the reason we've had success. Those things go hand in hand. There's balance, and the most important thing is winning, but I see it playing out. If we win, Mike is getting the record. We have to focus on winning and getting him the ball, but our guys are playing for each other. End quote by Baker Mayfield. So big ups to Mike Evans. Look, have all the fun you want right now. But come postseason, we ain't having it. Not happening. If somehow the Lions have to face the Bucs We ain't having it. The buck stops right here. All pun intended. Brandy Coffee just joined. Lions Faithful, thank you for joining our membership group this morning, Brandy. Big shout out to you. We'll get you some action this morning. Let's do, man, this one's epic. The Bears collapse. I love this one.
Williams with 10 seconds to go in the game. Williams with 7. Williams with 6. Takes the snap. This could be the final play of the game. Throws it deep downfield. It is up for grabs and incomplete. That's it. That's it. That's it. What in the world were the Bears thinking? This game is over.
I love it, man. The epic collapse by Caleb Williams and the Bears. The Lions obviously, getting another coach fired, right? Absolutely epic display of not knowing how to coach an NFL game. I don't think any of us that are in this show, right, that are in this chat would have made that decision. I have full confidence. None of us would have made the decision that Eberflus made or didn't make in losing that game. As far as Motown Mitch, I have no idea, Motown. We typically don't delete stuff. I mean, things get flagged by YouTube. If there's, cuss words and stuff like that, those get flagged. But I don't see any posts that are deleted. So no idea, buddy. No idea. Let's see here. Who do we have in this morning? We've got a lot of people in this morning. So we got Brandy Coffee, Trace, of course, moderating, doing an excellent job as she always does. Tilla Hardy, Wayne Rogers. We got Jay-Z in the house. Motown Mitch, of course, Essential Scrutinizer. Gino. Riley O'Brien. Riley's been sick. I hope you're doing well, Riley. Theodorio Villarreal's in the house this morning with us. Bo Booth, Big Papa. Lions Fan 76. Chuck Lund. Greetings from Panama. So Chuck is a big help to the channel. He's the one that's helping us organize the Ultimate Tailgate Cruise in 2025. So hopefully we'll get some more details wrapped up today and get information out to you guys here in the short order. Jason Wagner, good morning, and good morning to everybody else. If I missed you guys, Stala Eves, I see you up there. If I missed anybody, it's not by purpose. Orner U of M Dad, good morning. Ryan Van Valkenburg, see you in here. Benjamin Welmers. Chris Coiler. A few more names popping in here for me. All right, so welcome in, everybody. Good morning. Let's continue on with our NFL news so we can get to the good stuff. Lions news this morning. So everybody watching, we're paying attention to the Calais Campbell lottery. It might come to fruition, but will the Lions actually have a chance? There's a reason why I really haven't put out anything about this, because it is such a low-valued opportunity for the Lions to actually get a shot at Calais Campbell. There's so many teams in front of us that would add this guy in a heartbeat. But Tua Tagovailoa has a hip issue, and Tyler Huntley right now is preparing to start this weekend. And on the other side, it's Josh Dobbs for the 49ers, as Brock Purdy is down for the rest of the year. So there's a real opportunity if you have Tyler Huntley going up against Josh Dobbs. Dolphins may not win this week, and they need a lot of help. Dolphins need a lot of help to make a wild card spot. So be that as it may, I'm not expecting Calais Campbell in any way, shape, or form to really have an opportunity to become a Detroit Lion. So we'll keep on watching. We'll keep on paying attention, but I just don't have a ton to say on the subject right now until, there's a little weight on the subject. All right, last bit of the NFL news this morning. I'm sure there's a lot more, but this is it for me. Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals. When I read this, when I came across this, I was thinking, okay, I see you, Joe, but what are you going to do about it? What do I mean is Jamar Chase and T. Higgins contracts coming up next season. He said he doesn't want to make a living out of letting great players leave. Now, Joe Burrow without Jamar Chase or T. Higgins, that's not an offense that I'm sure he wants to be part of. Very, very difficult guys to replace. So my question is Joe Burrow going to restructure his contract? Are we actually going to see what hasn't been done in a while. We don't typically see a lot of quarterbacks that, get paid the most money, or, defensive linemen or defensive edge players. The guys that usually make the most money on an NFL team, restructuring their contracts to allow guys to get paid to stay with the team. Now, Joe's contract's, a little bit older, but he's still making a hefty amount of money. Question is he going to restructure? Now, Joe Burrow said this. He says, it's obviously a possibility, not one that I'm excited about, but that's not in the plans, I would say. And what he means is letting these guys walk. He doesn't want to see these guys leave the team. Now, Burrow's feelings on Chase and Higgins staying in Cincinnati are well documented, and these wide receivers have been entrenched in contract-related drama for this past season, with Chase sitting out training camp and Higgins unhappy with the franchise tag, requesting a trade at one point. Now, this duo has really ended up playing for the Bengals, in 2024 and hoping to get long-term contract issues resolved. Now, Burrow hasn't stopped stumping for his teammates and seemingly wants, the front office to do what's right here. Burrow said that whenever a great player leaves, you wish you could have found a way to keep him. You don't want to make a living out of letting great players leave the building. And I think that's why you got to do everything you can to get those deals done early. That's what Brad Holmes does. We have seen what Brad Holmes has done this last season, getting all of those deals done early, and we didn't overpay for anybody. Jared Goff gets his $50 million a year, and the quarterbacks that get signed after that are making way more. Penei Sewell gets his deal done. Amon-Ra St. Brown gets his deal done, and then the next wide receiver gets paid way more. So Brad Holmes did it right. He got the deals done at the right time. And I would say he got some bargains, on a couple of guys. Like Ali McNeil, I think that's a very fair deal. Penei Sewell, I think he was underpaid, to be honest with you, but very fair deal. So the Lions are doing it right, and that's why I wanted to bring this up this morning, is because what we've seen with the Detroit Lions over the last couple of seasons is get the players in-house and keep them there. You draft these guys for a reason. You've drafted, developed, you've grown these guys. They're homegrown, right? It doesn't make sense to allow them to leave and then go play for another team and have the success that they're having with another team. And without these guys, where would we be this season? So got to get it done early. We'll see what happens, here in this next NFL league year, but I don't think Joe Burrow's going to restructure his contract. And I think that's what's going to have to happen to get it done. All right, on to Lions news. So this morning, I'm trying to do some independent videos, or at least trying to get some recordings done so I can create more content for you guys, especially with now doing the night show. So I plan on doing the night show. More than likely, it'll be on Wednesday nights, but it could just be random sometime between Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Tonight, we are going to do some film review, and I do want to do some film review, not only of a little bit of the 49ers, but mostly the Vikings game. That's what I want to review tonight. And we might look at the Vikings game from, the Lions, Lions first shot at them this season, but I want to see what the Vikings have been doing recently against some of the other teams. So tonight, I'm going to plan a couple of hours to do that. It'll be open to all the members on the channel. And that way, if you're still a member now, even the lowest membered tier will get you in tonight. Let's see here. Trey says 11 more likes. Keep smashing. Get those likes up. Yeah, so if you guys want ads off this morning, just smash that like button for us. That's all we ask. We have no problem trading ads that pay YouTube, right? And get you in here ad-free. We do that every morning, every show. That's our goal, is to turn these ads off. Like I've said many times, I don't do this for money. I do this straight out of the love of my heart, man. I'm a Lions fan. I've been a Lions fan my whole life. Super fan's kind of an odd duck as far as a term, but season ticket holder, Lions loyal fan, many, many, many years, 25 years, 60 plus years in the family, been around just a little bit. So real, raw, authentic is what you get here. No punches are held back. Like I try to give you guys, what I think about this team. Whether you like it or not, hey, that's what we're here for. To have a conversation, right? I'm not gonna get on people if they have a different opinion. Motown Mitch says Burrow is on to something. Hey, it's the same thing that Brady did, but Brady really never, I shouldn't say never, really restructured a contract. He just accepted less money. When you go back and look at Brady's history, I want to say it was like the first 19 seasons of his life. I don't think he made more than 20, 25 million a year. And then it wasn't until you went to Tampa Bay that he was making like 45 or 48 million a year. So he did everything that he could as the leader of the Patriots to win that many Super Bowls. He knew that by winning Super Bowls, you're going to make way more money by winning a Super Bowl than you would during the season. The amount of money that he has made from all of his endorsement deals far outweighs what he's made in the NFL. Far outweighs. So that's a smart way to look at it. Build the team. Who cares about the money you're making now? 20 million a year versus 25 versus 30. Is there really that big of a difference? Like just one season making 20 million a year should set you up for your entire life. And if you do it right, it could probably set up a few generations of your family too. Again, if you do it right. But being able to play 10 seasons in the NFL and pull down, $500 million in salary or close to it, do you really need that much money? Probably not. Why not win a couple of Super Bowls and make $500 million in endorsement deals for the next 10 years? That makes more sense. Hopefully, the Lions catch wind of that and start winning some Super Bowls and see those endorsement deals just roll in, which we've seen a lot of Lions in commercials, lately. There's a lot of stuff that they've been involved in. Even the coach with Applebee's. It was funny. So I had an opportunity last night. I guess I forgot about one piece of NFL news. Have you guys watched Chief-aholic? Did you guys see this yet? I would urge you to watch Chief-aholic. It is about a Kansas City Chiefs super fan. Some guy that wore this wolf suit. And you want to talk about a crazy story. I'll put this out there. It involves bank robberies. You've got to watch it. Incredible. Some of the guys that were on the show I actually hung out with this past summer at the PFUFA event. And just good dudes, man. Good dudes. They weren't involved in any of the riffraff, but good dudes, man. All right, so let's get into some Lions news here. Where is it available? That's a good question. I should probably tell you that. I don't remember where I watched it. Might have been on Paramount. Hold on here. Prime. I'm sorry. It was on Prime. It was premiered exclusively on Prime Video. And it was absolutely incredible. Great story. I mean, sad story because of what the dude did, but great story. They did a great job on this. Check it out, man. You will not be mad that you watched it. All right, so Lions news. Let me restart here. Alex Anzalone, right? We know he's back. We talked about it last week that I expected that he was going to be back Tuesday or Wednesday. Lions officially have activated Alex Anzalone's window, 21-day window, as of Wednesday. So he was back at practice yesterday. Still unsure if he's going to have a real opportunity at playing this weekend. We'll know more today. Today is the day that Dan Campbell needs to see what he has. And I just want to say this. Jack has done a very commendable job at taking over the defense. The first week that he had the reins, I thought he did great. Second week, I thought he did great. Since then, though, I think things have kind of slid off a little bit. The linebacker play right now has been our weakest link on this team. We're seeing, running backs that are singling out or isolating our linebackers, and we're getting burned. You're seeing Ezekiel Turner just biting on every play action pass, any sort of a misdirection or a fake. our linebackers have been in trouble. And without them playing at a high level, we can't expect the DBs to play at a high level. No, you got the first, second, and third levels of a defense. You start breaking down, the first and second level, and you're leaving everything up to the third level. Well, that's why we're getting a lot of things open over the middle of the field. Running backs and tight ends have been killing us over the middle of the field. And that is largely the linebacker's responsibility. So we're hoping Alex can come back and be the captain and the leader that he's been and be that integral part of this defense, as we're heading into the playoffs. Even if he gets a chance to play this weekend, I dare say it would probably be on a pitch count. I don't think that they're going to force Alex to go 50, 60 reps in his first game. This is a guy that we need for the playoffs. So if he got in a half or a third of the reps, even if he's able to go, I wouldn't be surprised. I just hope that he can play at a high level, which I have no doubt that he can. So Jack, look, he's done a great job. I think he needs a little bit more growth. He definitely needs a lot of help in his coverage ability. Brandy, so I'm in 105 and 243, typically in 105. I sat in 243 once this season, but it should be a 105 this weekend. So Alex Anzalone has a message for the Lions fans. It's something that we've been talking about now really since Monday night, is that do not sell your tickets to Vikings fans. Please don't. Absolutely do not. There's ways that you can find Lions fans that want to go. There's public boards. It's not hard to find a Lions fan that's willing to spend $500-600 to go to a game. You may not make $1,000 on a ticket, but it would mean more to have more Lions fans. I don't want to see, this skull crap going on, in the stadium. It's going to happen, but if you allow more Vikings fans in this stadium, it's going to be a problem. This is a huge game. Biggest game of the season, not only for us, but for the NFL. This will be the most watched game of the season, I have no doubt. So after the Vikings beat the Packers at US Bank Stadium on Sunday, Jordan Addison, who totaled 6 catches on the day, had a message for Minnesota Vikings fans where he said, invade Ford Field for the upcoming showdown. So he said, it's going to be tough, talking about the matchup. He said, we need all the Vikings fans heading to Detroit this weekend, and we're going to put it out for them. Now, Alex Anzalone had that message for Lions fans, and he said simply, don't let it happen. One pride, the drill. We do know the drill, but let's listen to Jordan Addison as he was urging his fans to get there.
Jordan, it got a little bit close there at the end, but this environment, your biggest rival, to get a win like this, what does it mean?
I feel good. It's a division game, so we knew it was going to be a dogfight. I'm just happy we pulled it out.
You told me on the phone the other day, hey, they can't cover you and Justin TJ. You didn't mention Jalen Naylor. You didn't mention Cam Akers with a shoestring grab at the end.
That's what we do, man. We playmakers, score vice.
Just tell me about what it's like being on this team right now, a group that nobody thought was going to be in this position, 14-2 playing for big things.
I'm not going to lie, it's a lot of fun. It don't even feel like work when we coming in the building. Everybody smiling, laughing, we playing with good energy, and then, we just doing our thing.
So next week in Detroit, you can win the NFC North. You can get the number 1 seed. You can get the playoff bye. How does that strike you?
It's going to be tough, you know what I'm saying? We need all the Vikings fans in Detroit this weekend, and, we're going to pull it out for them.
Congrats, Jordan. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Jordan, it got a little bit close there.
All right, so you heard the message, man. He wants all the Vikings fans to show up. Look, I'm not surprised by this. Of course he does. And that's because we know we show up. Lions fans have been showing up everywhere all season. Let me get these ads turned off. You guys did a great job this morning. Make sure I didn't miss the message there by Trace, but let me get these ads turned off for you guys this morning. And ladies. There you go. So we've done an excellent job at traveling everywhere. And we have been for the last few seasons. It's Ford Field West, it's Ford Field East, it's Ford Field South. It doesn't matter where we go. It's an extension of Ford Field. We can't let that happen this weekend. Please don't sell your tickets to people you don't know, which will be Vikings fans. There was a whole bunch of tickets that popped up. I just would hate to see, we lose that Ford Field energy. There's a reason why home field advantage is so important, but right now it is even that much more important because of our defense, right? Our defense is having a little bit of some struggle right now, and it's probably going to continue throughout the playoffs. Without us getting, loud and beating out the Vikings fans in the stadium and promoting false starts by the Vikings offense, I mean, that's our chance. Like, we're the extension of the defense. Don't sell your tickets. Go to the damn game, right? Be ready to cheer your hearts out. So let me walk through Alex Anzalone being back. In case you didn't read about it or hear about it last night, I'll just give you the quick update, kind of run through what happened here. And no, I've seen your messages in there. I haven't seen anything on David Montgomery yet. I'll get into it today, though, and we'll see what we can find out. So Detroit Lions obviously have a winner-take-all game in Week 18 against the Vikings. It's going to determine not only the NFC North, but it's going to determine the 1 seed. What an epic way to finish the regular season. So winner-take-all. You got to love it. And Dan Campbell has said, you got to love these moments. Like, this is what we're built for. This is what we want to have happen. And I think he's lying. I don't think you want to have that happen. I think we probably would have wanted to have it locked up a little bit earlier, right? But who would have thought a 14-win team is going to be a wild card team, right? So here we are. Week 11, Anzalone suffered that broken forearm. And since his injury, the hope has always been that we would get him back, whether it was the end of the season or the first playoff game. So we got him back at the right time. Not only does he have some time to get ready, but this extra bye week that we're going to get when we lock up the 1 seed this weekend is going to be critical for this team. And I went through that a little bit last night as to why, and I'll go through it again here in just a moment. But Jeremy Reisman, Pride of Detroit, said, we'll see. Campbell said of Anzalone's status, he's doing well, he's close, he's really close. That was on the 31st by Dan Campbell. And then, of course, on Monday after the game, kind of the same thing. Tuesday, kind of the same thing. And then Wednesday, he's back and he's in the house. So Anzalone was designated to return from injured reserve Wednesday. He was in a limited practice, but it's today that's the big day for Anzalone to see if he's going to be able to go this weekend. Quote by Adam Schefter said that Lions linebacker Alex Anzalone, who hasn't played since breaking his forearm in Week 11, was listed as a limited participant in practice today and has a realistic chance to play Sunday night versus the Vikings. Now, before that, Adam put out a message that kind of said the exact opposite, that he wasn't expecting Alex to get in this game. We're expecting Alex to do what Alex needs to do, which is get healthy. That's the most important thing. So yesterday, I went and highlighted why this is a very important, game for us to lock up the 1 seed. It's not just bragging rights. It's not just having then 3 games to make it to the Super Bowl, which is phenomenal if we can do that. But it's our last, bye week was Week 5. The Lions haven't had a break, and they just ripped off all these wins in a row without having a break. And here's why it's important. Only the Chiefs, the Rams, and the Vikings have had a bye week around the same time, which was Week 6. So the Vikings are, kind of at that same level that we are as far as exhaustion, right? It's a long season. So if we can one-up the Vikings, the Rams, and the Chiefs, which the Vikings and the Chiefs are probably the 2 biggest teams that we need to think about right now, that gives us a real opportunity to get healthier and to get rested for the playoffs. Denver, Baltimore, Washington, Houston, they just had a bye week a few weeks ago in Week 14. The Bills and the Falcons just had a bye week in Week 12. The Bucks, Week 11, the Packers, Week 10, and the Steelers in Week 9. And when I look at the way that this is all shaping up, I would say that, the Chiefs, the Rams, and the Vikings, that's our biggest competition. Of course, the Rams and the Vikings in our own division, and then the Chiefs, in the AFC. They're going to battle it out. Baltimore's playing, at a high level right now, kind of turning the tide at the right time, and they're healthy and they're rested. We need that opportunity too. Absolutely need that opportunity. Wayne Rogers said Aikman made that same point on Monday night. It's an excellent point. I didn't get a chance to listen to any of that because, when we do the live stream, I don't have the audio on, so I couldn't listen to those guys, but I have heard that Aikman was pointing out quite a few things. And it seemed like he was kind of on, on the good stuff on Monday night. Kind of wasn't being the typical Aikman that he is. And they were also pointing out, I just listened this morning, that they were also pointing out some of the linebacker play, which, I mean, we've been talking about it. It's a problem. So it's good to see that, they're helping shape and show us what's going on with the team and not being the typical non-Detroit fans, right, that they have been. So it's good to see. What happens if we end up the 5th seed, right? So I went through this last night too. You want to talk about being mentally tough all season. And the Lions are one of the most mentally tough teams. I would say, they speak to resiliency all the time. Very resilient team. We've never lost 2 games in a row over the last couple of seasons. So how would it feel to go 8-0 on the road? Extremely difficult to do. Not done very often. And you don't get the 1 seed. You end up the 5th seed. Everything is supposed to go through Detroit. How being a 14-win team and you're the 5th seed, that's crushing mentally. Like you'll look back and you'll say, man, like, we put everything on the line this season. We played our hearts out. We suffered a lot of injuries. We found ways to win, and we did it. And we're the 5th seed. Can't happen. I think it would be a huge mental blow to this team, but I am not going to get down or out on this Detroit Lions team and think that they're just going to roll over and give up. If anything, it'll probably give them a little bit more motivation. But is the defense doing, enough with this formula that we now have, that we have to score a ton of points no matter what? I think that's what we're looking at for this postseason. We're going to have to put up 30-plus every game. And the defense is just going to have to make that one key stop, that one key turnover at some point between the 3rd and the 4th quarter to help us win some games. Unless we somehow get healthy and get a few more guys back or pick up a few more guys on the waiver wire or off practice squads. Who knows? There might be some more guys released, this week. We'll see what happens. I think that Brad Holmes is probably combing the wires everywhere, looking for any opportunity to make this team better. Now, getting back to Anzalone here just a little bit, he is going to be such an important piece to this team coming back, to this defense getting back to where it was. So he's a huge addition. He's one of the best linebackers in the game, sideline to sideline. His coverage ability is probably the best on the team as a linebacker, and we're going to need it. So having Anzalone and Jack back in the middle, Pittman or Jalen, whoever's going to be, Nyman or Nowaski, whoever's going to be out there in the Sam, position, it's a big time upgrade when you have Anzalone back in the game. D-Dub says, who else on the D-line has a chance to be back in the playoffs? So I rolled through this the other day. I don't think that we really have anybody. Now, Carlton Davis has an opportunity to come back. We still haven't had a full disclosure, as to how he's doing, if it's even possible or when. I think that the last thing I read on Carlton is divisional playoff game. So the divisional champion or divisional round would be the first opportunity to get him back. And that's when you're going to want to have him back. At least have him back in practice and maybe get in a, NFC championship game to get his feet going again, which again, it's a jaw, right? So his legs are good. His arms are good. The rest of his body's good. It's just neck up. I'm sure his brain is fine. It's just a jaw. So he can still exercise and do everything that he needs to do to stay ready. If you can get him back by the divisional game and get him a few reps before the NFC championship game, I think that'll be huge for the Lions. I'm more looking forward to getting him back than anybody else, to be honest with you, now that Anzalone is back. Montgomery, he's another guy that can come back, but after what we've seen with Craig Reynolds, I'm not as worried about the running back position. Jahmyr Gibbs can tote the rock 30 times a game if he needs to. But Craig, man, he did an excellent job. I think he was averaging about 4.5 yards, if memory serves me correctly. But he was valid and legit in the pass game and the run game. And for his first real chance getting into a game that was important, it was good to see that he was able to make use of his ability and give the Lions a fighting chance. John Desage says linebackers had a horrible game last week. They did, man. It was bad. So we didn't get a chance to go through any of the grades. Why don't we do that real quick? ZZZ Lion says, I didn't hear any of the guys they brought off the street name called on Monday. Are they still playing? Depends who you're talking about. So we just released Jamal Adams. And as far as the rest of the guys, I think we released Quan Alexander a while ago. Long was released a while ago. And quite honestly, I don't think any of those guys are coming back. I think they've been picked up again. Could be wrong, but we'll double check here in a little bit. Let me just get some of these stats up here for you guys. Be interesting to see how these linebackers played. It wasn't good. I know that. It wasn't good. So here we go. Miles Adams is playing, by the way, to answer your one question there about some of the guys we picked up. So Miles Adams is playing. He actually had a sack this last weekend. So I'm glad to see Miles. And then who was the other guy we brought in? Williams. I'm pretty sure that Williams was a healthy scratch in week 17, expecting him to play in week 18. So we should still have Jonah Williams around too. But Amik Robertson was your highest graded defensive player in week 17. Patrick O'Connor was your second highest graded player in week 17. Kirby Joseph, your third highest. Chris Smith had a pretty good game. Remember, he was elevated for that game. Za'Darius Smith was your fifth highest, but this is where the grades start to slip. You're talking 64.2 overall. Not good. Not good at all. Ifeatu Melifonwu, 64, 81.1 in tackling, 78 in the pass rush. Those are really good grades. Terrion Arnold was your seventh highest graded player, a 61.7 overall. Not great. Run defense, 64.4, tackling 63, and coverage 60.4. Just not great. Jack Campbell was your eighth. But when you look down at the bottom of this, you've got Ezekiel Turner, lowest graded player. Anthony Pittman, second lowest graded player. El Quddin Muhammad, third lowest graded player. Ben Nyman, fourth. Jalen Reeves-Maben, fifth. Trevor Nowaski, sixth. So our linebackers, all of them, were at the bottom of the list except for Jack Campbell, who actually posted pretty good grades in the run defense, 77.8, tackling 84.1. Man, Jack was really popping pads versus the 49ers, and he has been. He's such a heavy hitter. He was really popping some pads this weekend. Need him to continue doing that, obviously, throughout the next 4 games that the Lions are going to play. So not good for linebackers, right? We need something to happen here. And I think that something is Alex. I think that Alex is going to have a big boost. He's going to give a big boost to this defense. Just having him back on the field is going to give these guys a confidence boost. Half of this game is just having a little bit of confidence, right? At this stage of your career in the NFL, it's 90% mental. Everybody has the physical tools. Everyone's strong. Everyone can run, right? They're all agile. They all have the intangibles. But it's the mental game that is the most important. And having Alex back, I think, is going to give us a big boost of confidence. Yesterday, I talked about, Nick Wright being wrong. And he was very wrong about the Lions playing this game and playing with the starters from this one perspective. My biggest takeaway from this weekend was Kirby Joseph and the defensive backs, the secondary. Kirby snatching a couple of interceptions in this game just gave the secondary a big boost. That confidence injection is what they needed. You lost Carlton. You're finding ways to fight and scrap and win, but you're not coming down with turnovers. You're not coming down with fumbles or interceptions. You're not knocking out fumbles or causing fumbles, I should say. But then Kirby goes off for 2 picks. Right after Brian Branch gets benched, for his BS, Kirby comes down with a pick. That was a huge confidence boost for this team at the right time. So Nick Wright is wrong that playing these guys was the right move to make sure that they have the confidence that they have for the rest of the season. D-Dub says that first pick was a cookie, though. It was a gift. That was a Christmas gift after Christmas. I mean, both of them. I mean, he had, 2 shots at a ball right there, kind of back to back. It's good to see, though. ZZZ Lion says these guys need to step up their games on Sunday. You are right. We need Alex. I just hope he gets a shot to play, but I'll be honest with you. I am less than 50% confident that Alex is going to play. I hope that changes today. I hope that Dan Campbell comes out and says that he looked great in practice. But then again, don't expect Dan Campbell to give away too much. You do not want Minnesota to over-prepare for Alex being on the field. Or, I guess said it the other way, maybe you want them to over-prepare for Alex, and then he's not in the game. I don't know. I guess there's 2 ways or more than one way to skin the cat, right? Let's see here. Jay-Z says, I've loved Jack since he was picked up, and I learned who this dude is. He will be an all-time middle linebacker and make Chris Spielman and Kevin Shepard proud. He really has. He's done a phenomenal job. I'm not sure what Wee Man's message is, but it's kind of weird. Nick Wright does nothing but sing about sausage. Oh, okay. I don't know what that is, Wee Man. I have no idea. Better the Hunt, good morning, says, man, Wright knows so much. Why isn't he a head coach? Nick Wright, man. He's just a troller. That's all he is. He's just a troller. You might as well just drop something in the water there and, troll around the lake a little bit more. All he's catching is weeds right now because he's wrong. He's 1,000% wrong. All right, so next up in Lions news, Pro Bowl voting. If you guys haven't heard by now, you're going to hear right now. Man, did we do very well, but I was really, really upset that Kirby got snubbed. Completely snubbed. I had no idea that Kirby was left off of the initial ballot for Pro Bowl voting. I guess now when I look back at it, I never had an opportunity to vote for him. Why was that? Why did Kirby get left off of the ballot? Why was, McKinney on the ballot and Kirby wasn't? They were neck and neck, leading the NFL in interceptions. But this was just a stupid decision. And it cost Kirby millions of dollars in his pay. So I'll read this from AZ Sports. What a season it's been for Kirby. The third-year man leads the league in interceptions with 9. He allows just 43.9% of passes his way to get completed, is the second highest graded safety in the league, according to PFF, and led all free safeties in Pro Bowl votes. That's why it's incredibly strange that all of that was not good enough to get Joseph into the Pro Bowl in 2024. He was kept off of the initial ballot, according to Dave Burkett. This is baffling to me. But you know what? I guess it's just par for the course being a Lions fan, right? For whatever reason, you left one of the best safeties off the ballot. He goes on to have a record year, crazy good year, or season, still going, and he's not in the Pro Bowl? So, why? Well, a lot of us will say, okay, it doesn't matter. Pro Bowl sucks. It's not the same. Who cares about the Pro Bowl? It matters for these guys for their pay. There's escalators in their contracts. Was it last season or the season before? Aiden Hutchinson, I think he ended up getting like a $10 million bump for making the Pro Bowl. And there was another player that got like a $2 million bump just for making the Pro Bowl. So it's huge. Here's what it means for Kirby, though. Kirby just lost $3.86 million. Here's why. The NFL has a mechanism called Proven Performance Escalators, or PPE, a different style of PPE here, which is written into the contracts of players who are drafted in the second round and beyond. So 2nd through 7th. There are 3 levels to the PPE program. Level 1, if the player participated in a certain percentage of snaps for 2 of his first 3 seasons, or average that through 3 years, the percentage is 60% for second rounders or 35% for later picks. So you've got to average 60% of the snaps as a second rounder or 35% of the snaps for a third round through seventh round pick. And then you get your first bump in pay. Level 2, if the player participates in at least 55% of the team's offensive or defensive snaps in each of his first 3 seasons, new salary, amount of the original draft round, RFA tender, plus $250K. Big bump. Level 3, if the player is an original Pro Bowl selection in any of his first 3 seasons, his new salary would amount to that of a second round restricted free agent tender, and that is projected to be $5.217 million. So Joseph had already qualified for level 2, so he was going to get a little pay bump anyway in 2025. But hitting level 3 and making that Pro Bowl would have given him a major pay increase, which would have gone from making $1.357 million to $5.217 million in 2025. So he lost $3.86 million. It's crazy. Here's what's going to happen. Kirby Joseph is going to get a big pay increase next year. Kirby's going to get a new contract. He will be extended. I can't imagine a reason why not. I can only see 1,000 reasons why you should be looking to sign Kirby for the foreseeable future. The only question is Brad Holmes going to consider Brian Branch being the guy that's going to take over, the safety room and allow Kirby to test free agency at some point? I wouldn't think so. I think Kirby is everything this team needs, and I think that Kirby is everything that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell want on this team. He looks out for his guys. He's a hell of a ball player. He's only gotten better year after year after year. He says all the right things. I'm expecting Kirby to get an extension by the new league year. It's probably sometime around free agency next year. I would expect that he's going to get something done so that Brad will know what kind of money he's working with. Is he going to get close to $20 million a year? Probably not. Is he going to get closer to 15? Probably. I would think it'd be a couple years, $25, $30 million increase or extension, for Kirby Joseph. That's what I'm expecting. That's what I'm thinking right now. Better the Hunt says, love seeing everyone hit that like button. Appreciate it. Appreciate everyone watching this morning. You got over 300 people in the show this morning, so welcome in. If you guys are new to the show, if you've recently subscribed, please let us know in the comments which video did you see or which live show did you see that made you subscribe, number one. Number two, if you are new to the channel, hey, welcome in. Appreciate you guys. And if you haven't subscribed yet, there's a reason why 400 people just did in the last 2 days. So appreciate you guys being part of Rock On Detroit Lions. We try to give you the real, the raw, the realistic part of this Lions team, and we have great conversations. Probably the best community chat you'll ever see. And if you do become a member of the channel, then you get access to a Voxer chat, which is a great group of people that just chat it up all the time about Lions. Some good friendships have been made, and really enjoy having everybody a part of this community. So thank you again. Pro Bowl voting. Now let's continue this. So in total, Detroit Lions players, we killed it. 19 Detroit Lions finished in the top 5 in fan vote in 2025. Again, I still don't understand how Kirby is not on this list. Or not on the Pro Bowl ballot. But here we go. Jahmyr Gibbs, Monroe St. Brown, Penei Sewell, Kevin Zeitler, Frank Ragnow, Ali McNeil, Kirby Joseph, Jake Bates, and Jack Fox for the wait. Let me back this up. 9 players finished atop the NFC at their position in fan vote. So they all finished first, and the NFL Network's Tom Pelissero offered a little bit more detail as far as a list of these final fan votes. And here we go. Quarterback Jared Goff, 3rd overall, 2nd in the NFC. Jahmyr Gibbs, 1st overall, 1st in the NFC. David Montgomery, 5th overall, 4th in the NFC. Sam Laporta, even though he's having a down season, 4th overall, 3rd in the NFC. Amon-Ra St. Brown, of course, 1-1, He is 1 of 1. Penei Sewell, 1 of 1. Taylor Decker, 2 of 2. Kevin Zeitler, 1 of 1. That's crazy to me. Graham Glasgow, 2 of 2. Frank Ragnow, 1 of 1. Jack Campbell finished 2nd overall, 2nd in the NFC. Carlton Davis, 4th overall, 2nd in the NFC. Brian Branch, 2nd overall, 2nd in the NFC. Kirby Joseph, 1 of 1, and he's not on the frickin' ballot. Whatever. Jake Bates, 3rd overall, 1st in the NFC. Jack Fox, 1st overall, 1st in the NFC. Even Hogan Hatton, our long snapper, finished 4th overall, 3rd in the NFC. And safety, special teamer, and running back, Sione Vaki, who barely played this season. 3rd overall and 3rd in the NFC. So if you don't think that the Detroit Lions fans have stepped up this season in many ways, that is an incredible list. So even for some of the guys that aren't getting a ton of action, still have the respect, right? We stepped up. In one of the smaller markets, now Detroit isn't, a small city by any measure, but when you compare it to New York, LA, Las Vegas, Miami, Chicago, some of the bigger cities around, Philly, whatever, big markets, we stepped up. So big shout out to all Lions fans, man. Absolutely great job. Trey says Goff, Gibbs, St. Brown, Frank, and Sewell made it to the Pro Bowl on offense. I love it. Let's see. Mako Dakota says Lions 41, Vikings 34. So we're going to have a shootout, according to Mako here. D-Dub says if we win Sunday, media will put us back as the favorite for at least making the Super Bowl. And let's see. K Ain't Press says, are you guys afraid of Sunday's game because of our defense? So K must be a Viking fan. Welcome in, K. And I've said it from the very beginning of the season. Let me do this real quick. There we go. I've said it from the very beginning of the season that the Vikings not only were going to have a great quarterback in Sam Darnold. I was probably one of the only guys out on a ledge by myself thinking that, other than Vikings fans. Probably the only Lions creator that thought that Sam Darnold was going to be great this season. And he has been. But I also did something called my unbiased reviews. And I didn't end up finishing all positions, but I at least did a large majority of the defense. And I gave a ton of respect to the Vikings. And I thought that, where the Lions, if they were to stay healthy, I thought that we would finish at or near the top of a lot of metrics for the defense. And we have. But we haven't stayed healthy, so some of those numbers are kind of falling apart. But I said that the Vikings linebacking group was going to be the best group, if not in the NFC, the NFL. And they do have a very, very good linebacker group. So tons of respect goes out to the Vikings and what they've done with their defense this year. And the fact that you resurrected Sam Darnold's career, again, I wasn't surprised. It was a perfect fit. There's a lot to be said right now about how good this team is, the Vikings, how well coached they are. And here we are, we're heading into week 18. You've got two of the best coaches in the league that are up for Coach of the Year. And you've got two 14-2 teams battling it out for two of the best honors. The regular season win of being the NFC North, Kings, and winning the crown, and then the 1 seed. So it's a huge game. I'll say this though, as good as your defense is, we're not scared of anything. This offense is way too good. There's way too many weapons on this offense. Ben Johnson has way too many plays to dial up. As long as we show up ready to play, I don't think that we're going to have a problem. It might be a little bit of a shootout, but I don't think that we're going to have any problem taking care of business on Sunday. And that's no disrespect to the Vikings. I just think that we have way too many weapons on offense for any defense to really shut down. Okay, if you take Amon-Ra St. Brown out of the game, great. Well, we've seen Tim Patrick step up, and now we've seen who Jamison Williams is. Not worried. At all. Not worried. Jahmyr Gibbs, we've seen him get loose now in the pass game. Not worried. I think that there's way too many options, again, for what we can do. Sam Laporta, another guy that if he needs to step up, he'll step up. This last game versus the 49ers, he was getting wrecked. He still stepped up. Now, I don't expect the Vikings to come in and play us dirty like the 49ers did. As long as that doesn't happen and we don't see a bunch of intent to injure, I think that this game is going to be one of the best games we've ever watched. To be honest with you, I think it's going to be a great game. I'm excited about it. I really am. But at the end of the day, I know that this Lions team is not scared of anybody. And Lions fans, we're definitely not scared of anybody. Yeah, our defense has some holes. It just may be a boat race, and we're just going to have to show up with a bigger boat. I think it's that simple. We've been doing it all year. Maybe I should get Sally back on Vikings podcast. So the last time we had him on, I said the Lions were going to win, and we won. Of course, they thought that their team would win, but what a great group of people. I mean, just phenomenal people. So it's going to be a good game. Either way, it's going to be a great game. Let me get back to my notes here. All right, so we talked about Kirby. We talked about the Pro Bowl voting. We talked about Anzalone. What else do we have here? Let's get into the injury report real quick. Actually, let me do this real quick. Does this game, I mean, it does, in my opinion, does this game decide the NFL Coach of the Year? I just kind of mentioned it, right? There's two candidates going up against each other in a heavyweight fight in Week 18, and that is Kevin O'Connell and Dan Campbell. So does Week 18 decide NFL Coach of the Year? I don't see how it can't. I really don't. If there is two or even one other coach outside of these two that are even close to head coach of the year, I would be surprised. And if either one of these guys gets snubbed, that would just be a travesty. And it better not be Dan Campbell getting snubbed. Now, the regular season finale that's going to be at Ford Field is really shaping up to be the best game all season. All teams, it's going to set records. It'll be the most watched game. But you're talking about two coaches that have revolutionized both of their teams in a very short time. We went from a 3-win team to a 14-win team in 4 seasons. Last year, going 12-5 and winning the NFC North for the first time. Dan Campbell definitely deserves his due. He's done a hell of a job. And matter of fact, manufacturing all these wins with a defense that is missing a large majority of its starters and all of its depth, that is not easy to do. And quite honestly, Aaron Glenn has done a commendable job. He doesn't have a full deck of cards. He really doesn't. He hasn't his entire career in Detroit. And to start this season, he actually had what he needed. And then it all withered away. And he's still doing a great job. But it takes a head coach like Dan Campbell to make sure that his defensive coordinator can do his job. So everything that's going on with his defense, Dan Campbell's still a part of it. Even though he's more involved in the offensive side of things, as we've heard, it still takes a head coach like Dan Campbell to make sure that your defensive coordinator and the defense doesn't lose the faith. Now, this is going to be a clash of titans on Sunday, just without the Titans. It's going to be a big game. And if you want to make the case for Kevin O'Connell, he navigated Minnesota through significant early challenges, including losing their rookie quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. Now, I never thought that J.J. McCarthy was going to start. I always thought that it was going to be Sam Darnold. And then they lost Christian Darrisaw to an ACL injury just after 7 games. And despite those setbacks, O'Connell has orchestrated the NFL's 5th best passing offense, averaging 243.8 yards per game. Now, at the heart of that success is Sam Darnold, who has flourished under O'Connell and this system with career best numbers, 4,153 passing yards, 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Now, if Minnesota wins on Sunday in the highest stake game of the year, it would secure their first 15-win season in 26 seasons. would that solidify O'Connell as the #1 contender for head coach of the year? Okay, those are pretty good stats. Okay, I mean, I'll tip my cap to you a little bit, but come on now. Dan Campbell's leadership provides an even stronger argument for why he deserves to be head coach of the year. The Lions have already set franchise records with 14 wins, and they are within reach of adding another milestone. Detroit leads the NFL in scoring offense at 33.3 points per game, and they rank second in total yards per game, 410.5. Campbell and his staff have also reignited the career of the Pro Bowl quarterback, Jared Goff. While Goff has slipped out of MVP discussions, I don't think so. I think that he should still be in there. He's delivering one of the best seasons of his career. 4,398 passing yards, 36 touchdowns, and only 10 interceptions. Numbers are way better than Sam Darnold. Now, on Monday, he also joined Tom Brady as the only quarterback in NFL history to post a 75% completion rate in 8 games during a single season. Oh, by the way, he also went 18 for 18 and threw a perfect game. Detroit's offensive firepower has been second to none. The Lions are the first team in NFL history to have 2 running backs, David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, and 2 wide receivers, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams, to each surpass 1,000 scrimmage yards in a single season. Now, Ben Johnson's been a large part of the offensive success. But if you remember, it was Dan Campbell that started out with the offense. It was Dan Campbell that was calling plays. It was Dan Campbell's job, and he gave it to Ben. Dan Campbell is still heavily influencing what's going on with this offense. Now, we've been through a ton of adversity this season. Our defensive struggles, quite honestly, are mirrored by the 16 players on injured reserve on the defense at one point. Now, despite losing one of our #1 picks, or #2 overall, right? Aiden Hutchinson, Derek Barnes, Ali McNeil, Carlton Davis, Anzalone, and many others, Davenport, and Kaminsky, all of our depth is gone. Dorsey, a lot of players that we lost. We've still hung in there. We've still been resilient, and that's because of Dan Campbell. It's because of his message to this team. So if you can make a better argument than that, then you should be coach of the year. Nobody can make a better argument for what Dan Campbell has done and what he has gone through this season as far as adversity, managing a team that has lost 30 players since training camp to IR at one point in the season. 30 players to IR. Pretty incredible what Dan Campbell has been able to pull together. So no, I don't think it's close. And if Dan Campbell gets snubbed, then everybody that has an AP vote needs to be fired that didn't vote for Dan Campbell. We know that there's a heavy bias in the AP votes. There always has been. I mean, we heard it a couple of seasons ago. The one guy, I think he was a Baltimore AP press writer, said that he was going to vote for Lamar because that's his quarterback of his team. Not because of what Lamar did. Not because he was having a good season. Wasn't great. But that's why he was voting for MVP for Lamar, because that was his quarterback. That's not what your vote is supposed to be. It is supposed to be unbiased. So until we can make this system not have any bias at all, does Detroit ever get any credit for anything that we do right? I don't think we do. So, all right, here we go. Ed O'Neill says, Florio's voting for KOC. Probably. Shiv Chan says, why do we simply keep talking about MVPs when what matters is the NFC Championship and Super Bowl? I think it's all involved. Myron says, I hope this season isn't a letdown. Man, I'm right there with you. Could all come crashing to an end. It could. I mean, any team has that opportunity, right? Any team that has gone through a season like the Lions have, we could watch it all fall apart. But on the back end of that, teams that haven't suffered many injuries go into the postseason and have their dreams crushed. So it could happen to anybody at any time. I think the Lions have a puncher's chance just like any other team right now. K ain't press as I'm saying it right now. We for sure be a much dominant team next season because then our whole defense will be healthy. I think what you're saying there is you're expecting your Vikings team to be very dominant next season. If you're a Vikings fan, I can't tell if you're a Vikings fan or not. Josh Jackson says, what's the significance of Rodrigo's injury? Is there zero chance he makes the NFC Championship? Yeah, he's done. He had, was it ACL? I believe it was an ACL. There's zero chance that he comes back. Bucky, Kirby Joseph didn't make the Pro Bowl. No, he didn't, Bucky. He wasn't even on the ballot. Doesn't make any sense. He finishes first, but he's not even on the ballot. Ed O'Neill can't win games where his team loses the turnover battle. Are we talking about KOC here, Kevin? I think so. He says Kevin O'Connell is overrated, can't win big games. Shiv Chan says we need one or two more starters on the defense just to win any games here on out. Hey, we got one back in Alex Anzalone. There's a real chance that Carlton Davis can come back. Let me take a look at this report here. Okay. Detroit Lions defensive injuries as of today. Aiden Hutchinson. Now, we've heard all the rumors, right? We've seen him now running almost to hip level, which is good. He's making great progress. He's gone from shoulder in the pool all the way down to hip right now. So he's getting much better. He's getting close. Highly unlikely he comes back this season. It would be a Super Bowl, and that's about it. That's his only chance. Ali McNeil's done for the year. Kyle Pecco's done for the year. Marcus Davenport's done for the year. John Kaminsky's done for the year. Mekhi Wingo's done for the year. Nate Lynn, done for the year. Alex came back. Derek Barnes, done for the year. Malcolm Rodriguez, torn ACL, done for the year. Khalil Dorsey, I mean, just a crazy injury, very similar to what happened to Hutchinson, done for the year. Carlton Davis has a real opportunity to come back with a fractured jaw. And Ennis Rakestraw with a hamstring has a real opportunity to come back. But is Ennis Rakestraw really going to help us a ton right now? He really hasn't played much this season. He would probably be a liability. You'd almost rather see somebody off of a practice squad that's at least been getting some reps, during the week since the beginning of the season to probably come in and fill in if we need another depth guy. But the times we did see Ennis Rakestraw in, I didn't think he played bad. I thought he played pretty good. It just sucks that we haven't had him for the majority of the season. He's been injured almost this whole season. Now, Manuel Mosley, he's back. Now, he was out of practice on Wednesday because he was sick. Jack Campbell does have a rib injury. He was limited in practice this week. Amik Robertson has a calf injury. He's also limited in practice yesterday. And then David Montgomery has been out, obviously, with a knee injury that he's rehabbing. Now, David Montgomery is expected to come back probably in 2 to 3 weeks. If he can come back, that's looking like the timetable. Khalif Raymond has been back, but he's still kind of going through the motions and trying to get healthy. Not real sure if Raymond's going to get a shot this week or if Jack's going to get a shot this week. I'm expecting that Amik and Jack Campbell will be fine. And honestly, Emmanuel Mosley should be fine, but he hasn't stepped up yet. He's not playing for a reason. We just don't know what that reason is, other than maybe the Lions just don't have enough confidence in Mosley right now. I don't even think he had any snaps against the 49ers. Let me take a look. Let me take a look here. Where's the recap at? The recap's missing. Uh-oh. Maybe I won't take a look. And you guys see Mosley in? I don't remember seeing Mosley in the game at all. At all. Let's take a look here. Defensively, we know Jonah Williams was inactive last weekend, expecting him to come back this weekend. It'll be his last elevation, but then they restart in the playoffs, which is good news. Broderick Martin was inactive this last weekend or Monday. He still has a long way to go. Cornerbacks, Emmanuel Mosley did not have any snaps registered this week. So it's a big loss, you know, that the Lions have kept Mosley around and he hasn't been able to work his way back in, you know, to the rotation at all. I hope something clicks because we could really, really use another corner. And if Emmanuel Mosley can get back to, you know, anything close to what he was before, that would be a huge step in the right direction for us in the playoffs. All right, last part of today, let's get into some insights of the game that we're headed into this weekend. Here we go. This is going to be a tough game, y'all. Like, there's no pulling punches. This is going to be a tough game. All right, Lions and Vikings. Obviously the game is at 8:20 p.m. on Sunday night, January 5th at Ford Field. It is home field advantage for your Detroit Lions. Game will be on NBC. Taking a look at the offense here. At a glance, your Lions have been putting up 33.3 points per game. The Vikings, 26.4 points per game. Point differential. Lions are a plus 200 on the season. Plus 200. Vikings, plus 122. Record in close games. Lions are 7-2. Vikings are 9-1. Average margin of victory. Lions, 15 points. Vikings, 9.6. Turnover differential, because of what Kirby did on Monday, the Lions are now 4th in the league at plus 11. Vikings are plus 10. Total penalties. The Lions have had 99 penalties this season, which is ranked 12th in the league. Vikings, 104, and they are ranked 18th. Speaking of penalties, though, there's one thing that the Lions don't get. We have not been getting any calls for defensive pass interference this entire season. Hoping that changes. Can't just be one-sided all the time. Your Lions right now are a minus 2.5 favorite, which is kind of weird. Usually the home team gets 3 points. So Vegas right now is expecting that this is going to be a very, very close game. Over, under 56.5 points. I would agree with that, but I think that the Lions are going to go, I think this game's going to go way over, to be honest with you. Way over. When we talk about matchup comparisons and advantages, right now your overall passing efficiency, there's no real advantage. Both teams are kind of locked up at, Vikings are 6th best, Lions are 7th. Overall rushing efficiency. The Lions have a 2-star advantage in this game. Our efficiency rate as for rushing is number 14 in the league, where the Vikings are 26th. Pressure rate. Lions have a 4-star advantage in this game. We rank 13th in the league for pressure rate. The Vikings offense is giving up a much higher pressure rate at 29th in the league, where our defense is 13th best in the league. And I'm going to read some other stats and some analytics here in just a moment that I think will surprise you about the Lions defense and where they are with getting pressure on the opposing quarterback. We posted 20 pressures against Brock Purdy on Monday night. Didn't seem like it, but they did. Overall passing efficiency, the Lions have a 2-star advantage. The Vikings defense is rated the 5th best in the league, where the Lions offense is rated number 2. Overall rushing efficiency, the Vikings defense is number 1 against the run. As far as efficiency, Lions are 7th in the league. Pressure rate, the Vikings defense is number 8 versus the Lions offense at 15th in the league. The Vikings both have a 2- and 3-star advantage over the Lions in those two metrics. So right now it's 3-2. Your Lions have the advantage. Sam Darnold. So the Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson connection. Sam Darnold has targeted the slot on a season high 48.1% of his passes in week 7. Against the Lions, the second highest rate in a game in his career. Now, Darnold was aggressive when targeting the slot, as he has averaged 10.8 air yards per attempt and completed 6 of 7 downfield passes against the Lions, which is for 10 or more yards in the air, for 159 yards and a touchdown. Now, Justin Jefferson was targeted on nearly half of his routes, 5 of 14, when aligned in the slot. Now, he hauled in all 5 for 58 yards and a touchdown. If Sam Darnold is really pressing the slot this weekend and did in week 7, is there an opportunity that we see Brian Branch roll down? It would almost make sense to me to take Branch out of the safety position now. Put Iffy back there with Kirby. And put Brian Branch down in the nickel. You got Amik on the outside, Terrian on the outside. I would love to see Brian Branch come back down to the nickel. I think that would totally elevate the defense in the matchups that they're going to see this weekend. It only makes sense. The Lions, last season, utilizing Brian Branch in the nickel, it was great. He had a great season. Branch has been kind of light over the last few weeks. Several weeks, honestly. No interceptions. Not many pass breakups. I think that he would thrive back in the nickel for this game, especially when you see where Sam Darnold is trying to attack and target the weakest area of our team, which right now it would be the slot. It would be anything, over the middle, short zones there behind the linebacker, the flats. I think that's where Brian Branch would do much better this weekend, honestly. All right, conversely, Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now, the Vikings defense blitzed Jared Goff on 55.2% of his dropbacks in week 7. His highest blitz rate faced in a game this season. Now, Goff targeted Amon-Ra St. Brown on half of his routes, 7 of 14 against the blitz, completing all 7. Amon-Ra St. Brown gained 105 yards and a touchdown on those 7 passes. Now, on the season, Goff has recorded the 5th highest completion percentage, 69.9%, and averaged the 5th most yards per attempt, 9.3 against the blitz. For all those haters out there that say that Jared Goff is not a good quarterback because he doesn't have wheels, he can't run, he's been one of the best quarterbacks against the blitz. There's 2 ways to evade the blitz. You either get the pass off really quick or you're able to run away from it, which we've seen, players like Josh Allen, quarterbacks like Josh Allen, he's really good against the blitz because he runs away from it and extends the play. Jared Goff stands in the pocket, but this is going to be a game where Jared Goff is going to have to get that ball out at an extremely fast rate. There's no give or take here. You cannot sit back and get comfortable in this game against the Vikings. At some point, you might be able to, but in the beginning of this game, I'm hoping that it is quick hitters all day, first and second quarter, get them out quick. Yeah, you're going to have shorter passes. You're dinking and dunking it, but you get a short pass to Jamison Williams, and he's likely to break it. You get a short pass to Jahmyr Gibbs, and he's likely to break it. So we need to use that to our advantage, is what I'm hoping. Ed O'Neill has a super chat. Key players for Sunday Night Football: Brian Branch, Decker, Fox, and Gibbs. You ain't lying, Ed. That's a great take, buddy. Great take. Appreciate the dono. Jonathan Greenard. Next insight here. Jonathan Greenard and Ivan Pace Jr. 2 of the best outside and inside linebackers playing the game right now. Now, Jonathan Greenard generated 5 pressures and 1 sack across 21 pass rush attempts for a 23.8% pressure rate in week 7 versus the Lions. 4 of his pressures and his lone sack, coming on 10 matchups against Taylor Decker, and that's why Ed O'Neill just mentioned Taylor Decker. Ivan Pace also has had a productive day in week 7. He rushed the passer, recording a career-high 5 pressures on just 8 pass rush attempts. Super high rate, 62.5%. So to Ed's point here, Decker is going to have to be on his game in this game. Decker's kind of been a liability in a few big games this season. He's going to have to step up. The Lions are going to have to figure out a way to bring more guys up to the line. And you know what? If we have to give up a receiving threat, you know, on a few extra plays, and you bring in an extra lineman, which we've seen Christian Mahogany coming in as the extra lineman with Skip or without Skip, I think that's the perfect way to balance the, you know, linebacker attack that the Vikings have. You're going to have to bring in an extra lineman. There's no other way to do it. You know, if it's 4-on-6, you know, they got four down linemen and 2 linebackers. If it's 4-on-6 or 5-on-6, you need that extra lineman to keep the linebackers at bay. And I'm sorry, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Gibbs out of the backfield, Sam Laporta, and even Brock Wright, if he's in on, you know, some of these bigger packages, that's plenty. There's plenty for the Lions to utilize on the offense to still attack this Vikings defense and to make some big plays. Lions offense versus the Vikings defense. So the Lions have used 6+ offensive linemen on 62 plays this season. 5th most in the NFL, but did not use 6+ offensive linemen on a single play in week 7 against the Vikings. Hence the reason why I just said that's what they need to do. If you're getting rushed that much and blitzed that much, and their pressure rate is winning, right? The Vikings had a winning pressure rate against the Lions, and you didn't put in an extra lineman once. I mean, I think that it's your own fault. So Ben Johnson has got to realize this is a game. You can't be stubborn and think that our guys are just going to beat your guys. Our 4 are going to beat your 5, or our 5 are going to beat your 6. It's great in theory. It's good storybook writing, right? But this could be a storybook ending for the Lions to end the regular season with a loss and a 5th seed. So let's not be stubborn. Let's not get cute. Let's just man up and play some good ball here. Let's be smart, which I'm expecting the Lions to do. They need to put in some extra linemen this week against the Vikings. We've seen that when they do it, it works. It wins. It absolutely works. And you know what? Christian Mahogany, wow, has he been a big light over the last couple of weeks. Dude is vicious, man. He has taken out a few guys. Hopefully we'll see a couple of those plays tonight when we do tape review. All right, Sam Darnold versus the Lions defense. Sam Darnold leads the NFL in deep completions, 27. Also in yards, 996, and touchdowns, 9. He's actually tied for first. Now, despite throwing deep on just 10.9% of his attempts, which is the 14th highest in the league, he's still leading the league in this area. Now, as a result, Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison rank 4th and 6th, respectively, in deep receiving yards this season. And in this matchup against the Lions, we've seen a big problem with deep passes, especially over the middle. And a lot of that was linebackers leaking, tight ends leaking, and getting our bad linebackers our bad linebackers isolated one-on-one. Total mismatch. Can't happen this week. But specifically for Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, the Lions have allowed 835 yards to deep completions this season, which is the 3rd most in the NFL. They've got to figure out a way to stop the bloodshed this weekend. Now, like I've been saying on defense, if you rotate Brian Branch back down, I think that that's a good start. I think the other half of that is the single high safety look. We've been getting killed in the single high safety look, where we're trying to run man, and you've got one safety that is supposed to take care of everything. I know that Kirby's had a great season, and I know that he hasn't allowed a lot of receiving yards or receptions. He's got a really good rate there. I think it was like 43.6%. But what about the plays that he's breaking very late on? What about the plays that he's not picking the right side? What about the plays that him and Terry and Arnold are confused on who's supposed to take who? That's happened this season. But with two safeties back there, I think that gives you a better opportunity to shade Addison and Jefferson a little bit and still not give up anything in the run game. So I would like to see, personally, more two safety sets this weekend. You can still run man with Amik and Terrian, and then you could run a zone, with everybody else. You can go wide 9 on the front and still get after Sam Darnold. But utilizing all three of those things, in the same defensive front, I think would make more sense. If we give up a bunch of big pass yards to Addison and Jefferson this weekend, it's going to be a long day. I think if the Lions can just pick one and shut them down, preferably Jefferson, just shut them down, take them out of the game. Make Jordan Addison beat you. Make them try to beat you with their run game, which they won't be able to do. I think that's a big key to the weekend. Next up, Penei Sewell. Now, Penei Sewell versus the Vikings defense in week 7. He only gave up 2 pressures on 29 pass blocks. He was the only Lions starting tackle or guard to not allow 4 or more pressures that game versus the Vikings. Sewell allowed 1 pressure to Jonathan Bullard and 1 to Ivan Pace. What's crazy is all of the other offensive linemen allowed 4 or 5 pressures that game. Taylor Decker, Frank Ragnow, Zeitler, and I think Glasgow was in that game. All of them let up 4 or 5 pressures apiece in that game. I can find the exact stat here. Oh, where is it? I'll come across it in a minute. It's buried in here somewhere. All right, back to Sam Darnold for just a moment. So Sam Darnold has recorded the 3rd longest average time to throw, 3.08 seconds, which means their offensive line is doing a phenomenal job. In the NFL, it's truly an art form, right, to protect your quarterback. It's just a well-orchestrated dance that this offensive line has to do, and that's the defense's job to break it up. You give Sam Darnold 3+ seconds to throw this weekend, you're going to be in trouble. He has only scrambled on 11.3% of his dropbacks, which is the 16th lowest rate in the NFL and below the league average of 12.8%. So the offensive line, for whatever they've been doing a good job. Now, he is just one of 2 quarterbacks. The other one is Justin Herbert, to rank in the top 10 by longest average time to throw and have also scrambled at or below the league average rate. Darnold has stayed inside the pocket for 2.99 seconds on average. So this is the longest in the NFL, by the way. This is what I don't want to see or hear this weekend. Oh, the Lions need pass rushers. Oh, the Lions need a pass rush to get to Sam Darnold. Nobody in the league has gotten to Sam Darnold. Nobody. He's got the highest rate of sitting in the pocket, almost 3 seconds. So out of 31 other teams, not named the Detroit Lions, 30, not named the Detroit Lions, no one's been able to get to the dude. Their offensive line has been stellar in a lot of big games. So that's what I don't want to see or hear this weekend is that, well, we needed a pass rush. I told you so. No, it's if no one else can do it, what makes you think that we can do it? It's just going to be, you have to figure out a way. You're going to have to figure out a way to do it. Or does it even make sense? All right, does it make sense to try to rush the guy if no one else is getting it done, but yeah, you're putting all these assets towards blitzing and rushing the quarterback and it's not working and you're giving up a lot of liability on the back end of the defense? Why even do it? just play contain. Put your guys in the wide 9, shut down the run, and then put a bunch more assets on the back end in the pass game. So let's roll 5 and 6 DBs more often. You know, put in Jack Campbell and Alex Anzalone in the middle of the defense. Roll in 6 DBs for the majority of the game. I think that that's a better way to go about it, to be honest with you, or at least in obvious passing downs. Again, if no one else has been able to do it, and I'm not saying that we don't need pass rush help, but I mean, let's be real here. You can't lose. You can't lose as many players as we have and expect to have a loaded team in week 18. It's just not possible. It's not likely. I mean, it'd be completely asinine to think that way, that we should be loaded in week 18 after seeing 30 guys to go to IR this season and currently 13 still on IR. You know, all the other ones that have been waived with injury settlements. It's just impossible to even consider for a moment that we could have done something different. You know, the guys have to be available. Number one, the teams have to let them go or be traded, you know, before the trade deadline. And right now, if they're not cutting or waiving their guys, the Lions don't have anybody else to pick up. It's just not possible. It's just not. No one would have thought that we would have lost Davenport and Hutchinson and Ali McNeil. I mean, that's just crazy that we've lost 3 of the biggest assets on this defense. And that now Carlton Davis, our starting right cornerback. 4 big-time starters. You know, it's more than a third of your defense is gone for the entire season. We haven't had Davenport since, week 3, week 2? Ed O'Neill says, have low expectations defense. The O will decide the win. I agree. Thanks for the dono again, Ed. Appreciate you. All right, Lions offense versus the Vikings offense. So the Lions, 54.5%, are first in the league, and Vikings, 48.6%, are second in the league, have aligned under center at the 2 highest rates in the NFL this season. It's interesting. The Lions have averaged the most yards per play in the league when under center, while the Vikings, that rank 5th in the league, both offenses have also featured play action frequently. Jared Goff has used play action at the highest rate at 36.5%, while Sam Darnold ranks 7th highest at 27.4%. Goff has thrown for the most yards, 1,865, and 14 touchdowns on play action this season, where Sam Darnold ranks 2nd in both of those categories for 1,509 yards and 13 touchdowns. So this is a big key for me. The Lions defense, they go up against Jared Goff all the time. And if you're one of the best, you know, at run and play action, you would think that our team would be one of the best defensively against play action. You would think. Maybe they just need to run a ton of play action this week. Get the defense ready. You know, I said a couple weeks ago, if you got 2 guys on both sides of the defense, and when you see guys like Ezekiel Turner crash right, and the other, you know, guy on the outside crashing in, you know, on a play action pass and biting on the fake, well, you just got to tell the guy that's left of them, okay, if he crashes right, then you have to go straight and left. If he crashes left, you have to go straight and right and cover that zone. It's called a zone. Put a couple of guys out in these zones and just contain whatever they're trying to run. You're containing Sam, but you're containing those outlet passes, those bubble screens that Sam Darnold loves to throw. You know, you get Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, you know, out in those zones, and they're able to catch the pass in stride. I mean, there's a high likelihood that they're going to put 15, 20 yards after the catch, if not take it all the way. So you got to protect these zones. You got to take it away from the Vikings. So I would just expect it. Man, if we're running the most play action, why is our defense terrible against play action? Doesn't make any sense to me. But then again, we're missing a ton of guys. We really haven't had a good linebacker group in several weeks. Last few tidbits here. So Justin Jefferson, he has gone in motion on 15.7% of offensive snaps this season, totaling 298 scrimmage yards and 3 touchdowns on such plays. So each of which are career highs for him. Across his first 4 career seasons combined, Jefferson has gained just 394 scrimmage yards and scored twice after going in motion. So obviously something this season has really changed for him. Because he's almost had as much success in one season that he's had, in the previous 3 combined. God, allergies are just nuts today again. Jordan Addison, same thing. He's caught 24 of his 29 targets for 299 yards and 3 touchdowns on out-breaking routes this season. Flat and out corner routes are the most thrown routes to Jordan Addison. Again, if we know that and if we see these stats, it's not like they're going to say, oh, well, all that stuff was put out there. We can't run those routes this weekend. No, they're going to run the same thing that they've been running week in and week out because that's what they're good at. So if you know that they're running out routes and if you know that they're running, out corner routes, you got to set up your defense to be prepared for that. Put them in those zones. I think that we need a little bit more zone defense this weekend, at least between the linebackers and the safeties, and everybody else is in man, to be honest with you. So your outside corners and your nickel corner can be manned up. And I think everybody else needs to be in some sort of a zone. I think it would really help. But again, I'm not an Aaron Glenn. I'm not some defensive genius. I'm just saying what I would do. And you know what? It may not work. I might get the doors blown off of me too. Jared Goff. Jared Goff leads the NFL in completion percentage. Man, what a huge season for this guy. I mean, this is a guy that a lot of people didn't support. A lot of people thought he was a bridge quarterback. And I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. Some crazy people thought that Hendon Hooker should be the starter this year. I love Hendon Hooker. He was my pick for the backup quarterback position in the draft. If you go back to that draft and watch that show, I picked all 5 of the Detroit Lions draft picks that season in a row. And Hendon Hooker was my guy. He's just taken a little bit of time to develop, and that's fine. But Jared Goff is playing at such an elite level. Why would you want anything different? 79.4% completion percentage on passes from a clean pocket and 9.2 yards per attempt. It ranks 3rd most this season of all quarterbacks. Goff has thrown for the 3rd most yards, 3,310, and 4th most touchdowns, 26 on such passes. So when facing pressure, this is what Goff is the best at. Goff is still very efficient, generating the 12th highest completion percentage and 5th most yards per attempt at 7.5 when under pressure. Goff has also had, one of the quickest releases this season, and that's what we're going to have to see again this weekend. Definitely going to have to see it this weekend. That's funny. Brandy Coffee, your statement got flagged. That's funny. I got it. The Vikings, though, they have blitzed on a league-high 45.7% of early down dropbacks this season, which is 4.1% higher than the next closest team, the Buccaneers. So despite the high blitz rate, though, the Vikings have generated a pressure rate of just 37.9% on such dropbacks, slightly above the league average, which is 37.5%. Now, on 3rd downs, the Vikings blitz just 31% of dropbacks, making them one of just 4 teams to blitz more on early downs than they do on 3rd downs. The Steelers, the Broncos, and the Bears, they blitz the most on 3rd down. So what would that tell me? Right? If I'm Ben Johnson, this is what it tells me. You can run against the blitz, right? Just depends on where they're blitzing. But if you know that they're blitzing on early downs, man, you get those quick hitters right out. You're going to be in shotgun. It's a 3-step dropping out. It's got to be quick. It's got to be 2.5 seconds or less. You're getting that ball out. That doesn't give Jared Goff, a lot of time to make the right decision, but you're going to have to find an advantage. So if that means, you've got a single back, you got Jahmyr Gibbs back there, and you know that they're blitzing and it's 1st down, empty the set. Send Jahmyr Gibbs in motion. That is going to force a linebacker or somebody to have to pick him up, and that is a matchup that I want all day. Send him in motion, get him lined up on a linebacker. Jared Goff just has to set and throw, and it's just going to be curtains all day. So that's what I'm hoping to see, is that we're utilizing the Vikings game against them. Take what they do well and organize an offense and use it against them. Jahmyr Gibbs this weekend is going to have a big game. He has gained 10 or more yards on 16.3% of carries. The highest explosive rate among all players with at least 100 designed rushes this season. Now that coincides with Gibbs, who has reached 15 plus miles per hour on 24.7% of his rushes, and third highest rate in the NFL. Now he's averaged a speed of 13.18 miles per hour on his rushes, which is the second fastest among running backs this season. What a blessing it has been to take a running back at number 12. Huge. Just huge pick by Brad Holmes. The reason why the NFL didn't like it, the reason why the NFL teams didn't like it, the reason why they're talking crap about Brad Holmes is because of my next statement, which I'm going to make about Dan Campbell too, but they don't like that Brad Holmes doesn't follow the rules, these unwritten rules, because every other team is expecting for you to follow the same path that everybody else is. No, not Brad Holmes. He's going to do it his way. And he's going to try to outthink you. And he's going to grab the guys that he knows are going to make a difference on this team. Why do you think that a lot of people, a lot of media, Nick Wright, why do you think that they talk so much crap about Dan Campbell and this team? Why do you think? Tell me in the comments below. I know I don't ask that enough, but tell me in the comments after the show, why do you think it is that people just love to pick on what the Lions are doing right now? It doesn't matter how good we are. It doesn't matter what we've done this season or last season. There's just always a certain set of individuals that can't stand that the Lions are good and what they're doing is different from everybody else. I'm going to tell you why. Because Dan Campbell, he's breaking the molds. He's doing things so different from any other team that it like breaks the rules, right? If the NFL didn't want the Lions to be good, if you believed in the script, if you believe in the narratives, and the Lions weren't supposed to be good this season and they weren't supposed to be where they are, and the NFL gives us a certain set of referees that don't call a bunch of helmet-to-helmet contact versus the 49ers, right? Don't call certain penalties. Like, come on, we don't have really any pass interference that's been called against opposing defenses. You can look at a million different reasons that the NFL is against the Lions, or at least it appears that way. But I think the reason is because Dan Campbell is breaking the norms of the NFL. If you look around the league, a lot more teams are going for it on fourth down. There has been more teams going for it on fourth down this season than ever before. That started because of Dan Campbell. They've now looked at the analytics and said, yeah, you're right. Going for it on 4th and 4 at the 45-yard line makes way more sense than punting the ball or kicking a 57-yard field goal or whatever it is. That's why teams have now started to follow in line with what Dan Campbell's doing. So all the people that knock what Dan Campbell does, you might want to look around the league and look at the other teams that are following suit now. And again, if you follow the narrative or believe in the narrative that the Lions were not supposed to be where they are this year, that they're not supposed to be getting a 1 seed, winning the North, and potentially making a run to the Super Bowl, then I think that you would also have to believe that Dan Campbell doesn't give a shit what anybody else thinks. And he's going to do whatever he wants to do to put this team in a position to win. And that's why when you see us go in and smoke teams 52-6, he don't care. When we maybe don't need that extra touchdown at the end of the game and you could just knee it a few times and they're going to go for it anyway, He don't care. He wants to put up as many points as he can, not to embarrass the other team, my opinion. I think it's so that there's not a chance that the NFL or the refs can screw with the game. Again, if you believe in the narrative. So I think that's why he's so hated by a lot of, or some media personalities out there. Other than that, I think that Dan Campbell is one of the most beloved coaches in the league. You hear it from, opposing fans. I hear it all the time, when I'm at a game or messages that I get or chat that we see. They love Dan Campbell. They love what he's done. Some think he's crazy for calling these crazy fourth down calls, but a lot of people love what Dan Campbell represents. And Brad Holmes too. But that's, I think that's my hardline stance or take here on why people dislike what Brad and Dan are doing, or why the NFL may dislike what Brad and Dan are doing. It's because they're breaking the norms. They're not doing what it's been traditional to do in the NFL. You punt on fourth down. You kick field goals when you have an opportunity. You take the points. You don't go for it on fourth down unless you're down and need to come back. That's what it used to be. Not anymore. Not Dan Campbell. I love what he does, and I hope he continues to do it. All right, so we got to give away a Mindy helmet today because we have hit 75 plus 100 subscribers, and if you haven't hit subscribe today, please do it right now because that's the only way that you'll have a chance to win. You have to be a subscriber of the channel. Let me take a quick peek here. Who subscribed today? All right, we're doing good. 3,000 views this morning, almost 500 watch hours, bunch more subscribers. You guys are doing a great job. Really appreciate all of the support. And, man, what an epic season we have in front of us right now. We really do. Being a part of the Lions as a loyal member, as a Lions fan my whole life, this is what we've been waiting for. And I never thought that I would be in front of a microphone doing this stuff. Now, there's been some life circumstances that have put me here. And to have you guys as the best audience in the world means a lot to me. You guys have been very supportive, and I really appreciate it. So I want to say thank you to everybody, the members, the subscribers, the people that listen and watch, even the people that don't subscribe, that you're listening and you're sharing the stream, whatever. I appreciate each and every one of you. I wouldn't be here without you guys. I don't know if I would have continued doing this if the support wasn't there, but it's been great. The Rocked On Cancer Foundation appreciates all of you. You guys have done an excellent job at supporting it, and it's a big reason why I like to give back. So we bought $3,000 worth of mini helmets this year, signed by Panay Sewell and Chris Spielman to give away, and I want to give one away right now. So let's do some trivia, because I think that's the most fair way to do it. Let's do some trivia. We'll do Lions trivia today. Let's see if you can prove how big of a fan you are. No, that one's too easy. Hold on here. And that one I think the old heads might know for sure. That one nobody would remember. Oh, you should though. Okay, this one you should know. I would think you should know. It's kind of tough. Here's how it works. You've got to be the first person to put it in the chat. Okay? It's whatever the chat says. Whoever's the first one in, you win. I don't want to see any fighting going on in here that you guys, I'm first, I was first. All right, so here it is. Old heads. Yeah, I'm an old head too. I can't believe it's 2025 already. This is a year though that we're all gonna have a great year. I promise you. Not just Lions fans, not just Detroit Lions. We're all gonna have a great year. It's gonna be a great year. All right, Here's a trivia question for Mini Helmet. Who did the Detroit Lions pick, current member of the team, in the 2018 NFL draft in the first round? There it is. Oh, Ed, you didn't put the last name in. And John Desage got it. All right, you guys have to decide. Is Frank just the name Frank worthy of a mini helmet, or does it have to? I should have said it has to be the full name. But I don't think you can deny that it was Frank. It's a toss-up between Ed and John. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you both a mini helmet. How's that? Congratulations to both of you guys. You guys know to email me at mailbag@rockedon.com. Mailbag@rockedon.com. Send me your email address, or send me your home address or work address, wherever you want the helmet sent to. Just make sure you give me the right address. We'll get everything sent out today. So look at that. We were going to give away one. We're going to give away two. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We give away mini helmets all the time, but it's every 500 subscribers. I know it's been different for my channel not popping up. I've been hearing that people have been finding me lately that they have no idea how they didn't. I know my SEO and keywords are great. I just think it's the name of the channel, Rocked On Podcast Network, that I still have to change. And I'll do that so that we'll make it more Lion-centric. But anyway, you guys have been great. Phenomenal work by everybody in the chat this morning. The mods, appreciate you guys. Listen, I wouldn't be here without all of you guys. And I'll be here next year because of all of you guys. And I really appreciate all your help and all your support. Back at it tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And tonight, we're going to do some film reviews. So if you're a member, make sure you look for the members-only link tonight to the show. So we'll do it live. We'll look at some film review. Obviously, there's no ads or anything in film review. So, all right, you guys have a wonderful day. Go One Pride, go Detroit Lions. Until the next time, you guys take care of yourselves, okay? It's a brand new year. Let's do some brand new things, and we're going to start that off by kicking the tail out of these Vikings this weekend and getting our way into the 1 seed. That's where it's got to start.
Big guys in the huddle, man, talking football. NFL, college, man, they cover it all. Feel the tension, prediction, and a call. Fantasy life and rise or fall. Talking football night and day. NFL and college, hey, hey. Bets and stats, they don't play. Fantasy champs on our way. Guitars, roaring hearts, beating fast. Catch a pass, score, man, have a blast. Three voices, keeping it clear. Listen up, the season's here. Roaring hearts beating fast. Catch a pass, score, man, have a blast. Three voices keeping it clear. Listen up, the season's here. Talking football night and day. NFL